Oliver had always believed that success was something reserved for other people. You know the type. Those born into wealthy families, those who had connections, or those who simply got lucky. Living in a modest flat in Manchester, working a standard 9-to-5 job, Oliver never imagined he would one day challenge that belief. At the age of 27, Oliver made a quiet promise to himself. He would save his first £100,000. It sounded impossible, almost laughable at the time. His salary barely covered his rent, bills, and occasional nights out. But something inside him refused to settle for an ordinary life. The journey began with small sacrifices. Oliver stopped ordering takeaway meals and started cooking at home. He canceled subscriptions he barely used. Every pound saved felt insignificant at first, but he reminded himself that consistency mattered more than speed. Months turned into years. Progress was painfully slow. At times, Oliver felt like giving up. Friends around him seemed to be enjoying life, traveling, buying new gadgets, upgrading their lifestyles. Meanwhile, he was counting pennies and saying no far more often than he liked. But what kept him going was a simple idea: discipline creates freedom. After 2 years, Oliver had saved £15,000. It wasn't much compared to his goal, but it was proof that change was possible. Encouraged, he decided to take things a step further. He began learning about investing. At first, the world of stocks and funds felt overwhelming. Charts, numbers, unfamiliar terms, it all seemed too complicated. But Oliver stayed patient. He read books, watched educational videos, and slowly began to understand how money could grow on its own. He started small, investing a portion of his savings into index funds. The growth was not dramatic, but it was steady. For the first time, Oliver realized something powerful. Money could work for him, not just the other way around. Years passed. His savings grew to £40,000, then £60,000. It was still a long way from £100,000, but the pace had changed. The combination of saving and investing was starting to show results. However, the journey was not without setbacks. There were moments when the market dropped, and Oliver watched his investments lose value. Fear crept in. Doubt whispered that he should pull out and protect what he had. But he didn't. He reminded himself of the long-term vision. He stayed consistent. He trusted the process. Finally, at the age of 34, after nearly 7 years of discipline, patience, and persistence, Oliver reached his goal, £100,000. He expected fireworks, celebration, a dramatic feeling of success. Instead, what he felt was something quieter, but far more powerful: confidence. For the first time in his life, Oliver believed in his ability to create wealth. And that changed everything. With £100,000 invested, the rules of the game shifted. Growth began to accelerate. The returns on his investments became more noticeable. Opportunities appeared. Better job offers, side income ideas, and even the confidence to take calculated risks. Within just 3 years, Oliver's wealth doubled. That's when he truly understood the principle. The first £100,000 is the hardest because it requires discipline, sacrifice, and belief without immediate results. But once you reach it, money starts to grow faster, and the journey becomes easier. Oliver was no longer just saving money, he was building a future. Looking back, he realized something important. The real transformation was not financial, but mental. The habits he built, the patience he developed, and the discipline he practiced were far more valuable than the money itself. One evening, sitting in the same flat where it all began, Oliver smiled. Not because he had become rich, but because he had proven something to himself. Success was never about luck. It was about starting, staying consistent, and refusing to quit, especially when progress felt invisible. And that's why the first £100,000 will always be the hardest. But once you achieve it, everything changes.